You're listening
to the Bumbling Yeti podcast.
Hey everyone, this is John from the Bumbling Yeti episode. I don't know because I'm all messed up right now, but that's a great thing about having my own show. I have with me today Amber Delacruz. She is an amazing singer, songwriter. I saw her for the first time when I was in Nashville. I'll get into that story a little bit. But Amber's amazing. When you listen to her music, or at least when I listen to her music, she kind of captures a lot of different facets of the music. So she can sing like that, like the Norah Jones style stuff, which I think I requested on one of your requested Thursdays. Is that what it was?
Oh, yes. That was a good one.
Right. So Amber, welcome to the Bumbling Yeti podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure.
I know it's taken us a long time to make this happen.
Yeah, it has. And that's okay. I get busy, you get busy, and that's fine. But I wanted to kind of get into just very, very quickly. I've come to really appreciate country music. I'm like a hip hop guy, 90s hip hop, 80s, like late 80s, 90s hip hop guy.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That's where,
right.
But then again, that's kind of like, that is the grandfather of modern country music right now.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right. So
Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Exactly right. So I'm a Biggie fan, like through and through. So I think I had podcasts where I would talk about. I remember running home from school and going to listen to TRL, with Carson Daly on MTV.
Oh wow, yes. See, I wasn't allowed to watch anything that had to do with what was the VH1, MTV.
Yeah, right.
None of that. I grew up in a very, very strict Christian home.
Okay. That's all right.
So, watching country music videos. I had to sneak that in.
Yeah. At
like 7:00 in the morning.
Right. So does your family appreciate what you do now? I'm sure they do. It seems like
yes,
they do, right?
They absolutely do. We moved to Callahan, Florida when I was like 5, and they were pretty strict, but we were always around country music because of where we lived. And and my dad, he listened to a lot of, he listened to Journey, he listened to Commodores, he listened to country music. He was the redneck. He was the Filipino redneck that had like a, CJ7 on 42s. It's like super swampers racing on mud tracks.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So, he was always around it. They were just very, I guess, protective. They didn't want us, they didn't want us to lose our innocence, I would say.
Sure.
But of course it just happened no matter what, because we're crazy just like they were. So
right. Yeah, I can understand that, especially I have 2 daughters. So my oldest is going to be 17 in a couple weeks, actually next week. And my youngest is 15, and it's crazy how protective you get of your children.
Yeah. But, I don't blame them. I don't even have kids, but I have 2 nieces and 1 nephew, and oh boy, I pull the parent card so quick sometimes.
Right.
I'm like, what did you say?
Right. So the way that I came about you and your music, I don't know if you know Joe Portner or not, but I'm a big fan of his.
Oh,
right?
He's a phenomenal vocalist.
Right.
He's got one heck of a voice.
Yeah, I had him on here. He's been very good to me. I go see him every time he's here. He opened for Cody Johnson, and I kind of stumbled. I actually went to see Joe Fortner because I wasn't like a country guy, but like Cody Johnson came like shooting off the stage, and it was one of the greatest shows ever. And Joe's been very good to me, and then that kind of springboarded me into like the whole behind the, not like mainstream. And actually, this little thing back here, I got from my fiance. Tom O'Connor, I'm a big fan of his as well, and he has a song with Luke Combs.
Okay, yeah.
And then so this one back here is called "Bad for You," and I asked him, I said, hey, can you write me, like handwrite me lyrics? So he did. So we hung that up in our house, and it's I think music really speaks to me, and I think it helps a lot of people. So anyway,
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I mean,
so
before I was ever a songwriter, I mean, music was a huge part of my life lyrically.
right.
I paid attention to lyrics. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was crying at probably the age 8 or 9 when I heard a song.
Right.
I cried to like my first song when I was like 8 or 9 because I knew exactly what it was talking about, and I was like, "This is horrible."
Right. Yeah. So it evokes a lot of emotion, and one of the things for me when I first met Job, I mentioned this on the podcast, but his mom had just passed away, and he took 25 or 30 minutes in between shows to just talk with me about how he loved just driving to nowhere with his mom, and all the things that he and his mom had done. So that kind of spurred me on. My mom always talked to me about wanting to go to Graceland. So last year I took her, and Job actually, I told him about this. He inspired me to go because, my mom, she's going to be 70 this year, and she's still 150,000 miles an hour, right? She's shot out of a cannon every day.
Firecracker. Hey, we all have those kind of moms.
Right. So she and I flew into Nashville, and we got there early, and we walked down to Luke's 32 Bridge, and you were singing.
Oh, wow.
And so
what floor?
It was on the first floor, so it was actually breakfast time. We got there right at it was the time. I don't know. You may or may not remember.
Yeah, it was 11.
It
was either 11 to 2 or 2 to 6. If it was breakfast time, it was 11 to 2.
Yeah, so it was right around this time last year, and we got there. It was like 70 degrees, and we went to Memphis. We drove to Memphis, didn't turn the radio on one time, drove back in one day after spending the whole day at Graceland. But when we flew in, we went to Luke's 32 Bridge, and you were there. And your guy, I forget what his name was. He's the one who wrote the song for Cole Swindell, or he recorded it, and then Cole Swindell, I think it was a Cole Swindell song. But anyway, the guy
probably Luke, because that sounds like Taylor. If I bring anyone on stage, it's probably Taylor.
Right. So I think he was late that day. I think he was late that day. But it was 70 degrees, and then we got there, and it was like 10 o'clock. My mom just kept feeding me beer because we were walking, and she got hers because she got too hot of a Nashville hot chicken sandwich. So that was her payback. But we came there, and the way you sang was just, it was amazing. You were just taking requests, and there were people coming in there, and you were just very open, and you were very honest and truthful, and that kind of stuck with me. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
But so from that point on, started following you.
Sometimes I say too much.
Well, I think that
sometimes I get too real that everybody's like, "Whoa, she went there. She did."
Well, yeah, but it keeps you real, right? So that's my story. Yeah. I don't want to take too much of the time about how I got to know of you and your music, but I certainly appreciate your time. I know you're super busy, and for everyone listening, with your permission, I'm gonna put your music into this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do that. But Amber just released a song, a Christmas song called White Christmas, which I think the only thing missing would be Santa on a boat or Santa on a wave runner, right? But everything else, it's a great song. So I'll put that link in the description and all that kind of stuff, and I'll continue to promote it. So thank you again for coming on.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So I see you do a lot of live feeds, right? I saw the one the other day when you were shopping with your mom.
Oh boy.
Right? But it was a good one, right? So that actually, to me, that makes you a lot more relatable, right? Because what you were talking about at a very high level is about working so hard and doing every single thing the right way, the way that you think it should be done, and kind of following a plan, but then kind of taking your own path. I think especially now it's important for people to realize that the hard work pays off. And you know, I think you're in, and I don't know a whole lot about it, and I want to get into it, but your perspective on the music industry as a whole, and I only know the little bit that I've been told. There are some people that they want to go that mainstream radio kind of path.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's other people that like to do, maybe touch a little bit of radio, but just tour and tour and tour and tour. So I'd like to kind of understand what you're looking for, and maybe how I can help, or how people that I know can help.
Oh yeah. Well, I will say, that, I mean, considering, that live that I did post. Yeah. I mean, there are artists that I completely look up to, because I like them as a person, because I likely know them. And I kind of follow a little, I pay attention to their business model and how they're, how they're running their ship. I mean, and what's working and what's not working, there are obviously things that I will never even touch. Like, yes, I'm a grown adult and I can, maybe do whatever I want, but my moral compass and the fact that my mama and my daddy will still, beat the absolute mess out of me if I do something inappropriate or anything like that. Like, obviously,
Sure.
there's ways to do things in this industry if you want to go viral or something like that. But I'm just,
Sure.
I mean, I'm not going to sit there and do it just because I know it will work. I mean, it's not who I am. Then again, at the end of the day, it's not honest. So, as far as the whole mainstream, are you mainstream? Are you, what are you at the end of the day? Do you want to be on the radio? Well, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
But you're not willing to sell your soul for it.
Well, no, I'm really not. I mean, I'm too honest of a person to do that, to be
Sure.
completely honest with you right now. But I know that there are things in my music that it's not necessarily adding up to every other country artist right now, or especially in the female world. Like, you have a handful, well, not even a handful, I would say. I mean, I can maybe think of about 3 that do go a little more on the rocky side.
Sure.
Rather than just typical country pop. And I'm not knocking those people. Like, like Priscilla Block, she's one of them. I love her lyrics, are great. And she's got a great voice, and she's blowing up right now in country music, and she's definitely changing things up, and she's great. I mean, she's funny. She's so funny. Dear Lord, I've met that girl on so many occasions. She's hilarious. But I know that my sound is different.
I think mine just lost something, but you can keep going. You can still hear me, right? There we
I
go.
know that my sound is different. I know that I do bring a lot more rock into my stuff than most female country artists. I like dirt on my guitar. I don't like. I'm not always about the clean tellies on a track.
Sure.
I rather put some grit on there, put some dirt on it, and put it in drop D, C sharp. I don't care. I like the sound at the end of the day. And
but I think that puts you in I think that's what makes your sound unique, right? So I'm not going to say you don't sound country, but you don't sound like mainstream country. And for me, I'm not I'm not old country music. I'm like what I call new country music. And what really got me into country music, which you could think it is, or maybe it isn't, is Zach Brown, right? So Zach Brown's more, it's a different kind of country. And then
Zach Brown was my first country concert.
That was my first country concert as well. Yeah.
He was opening for Sugarland. That was the first country concert that I went to. And I was 17, 18. And I was like, well, hell, I can do that.
Right, right.
I was looking up to Jennifer Nettles more than anything at that time. I was just singing karaoke, but Zach Brown opened up for her. And I was like, I could go home after this.
Right. And they're amazing. I apologize. This camera keeps dropping off, but I can still see you.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
But I think for the most part, what I have noticed is that you have a unique sound. They have a unique sound, and I think that's really important.
Yes. And
for people to realize.
Zach has tapped into so many types of genres with his albums. I mean, he's all his stuff, you could tell there's so much more influence in all genres than just one. Or like, you could tell that you can't necessarily listen to his album and go, okay, what influences he has, because it's such a broad spectrum.
See that's a camera cord right there. I'm all screwed up. Look, I don't even know what I'm doing here, to be honest with you. All right, so it's a different angle now. It's not as harsh in the light. I apologize. But yeah, I apologize I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. It's all good.
But yeah, I think your sound, and it's interesting to me because I have some friends in the music industry. I have one friend who's probably the most amazing hip hop producer everyone's never heard of, and he likes it that way. He's worked with a ton of different people, and his perspective is the same way. Like I think he is so far ahead of his time. Like he's like Pharrell ahead of his time. Like it's crazy. And so anyway, I think for the most part, I love your sound. I think that what you bring is different. I don't want to say it's the same, but it's the same different, if that makes any kind of sense. Right? So it seems like it fits that niche.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's guys that have played with me on the road, and they're like, and I if we go into rehearsal and I'm like, hey, put some more dirt on that guitar, and they just kind of look at me like, didn't expect this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I come from a family. My uncle and my cousins, they played in like hardcore bands back in the day. So I grew up around very hard rock music, or it was a Christian music, but they were all original bands.
Sure.
I wasn't allowed to necessarily listen to a lot of rock, but I grew up around that. I grew up around bands and original music. I didn't necessarily grow up around a bunch of cover bands. And so, having that type of influence on top of what I did grow up somewhat listening to. I did listen to a lot of Motown, because when Kelly Clarkson was on American Idol, that's all she did was sing Motown. And,
right.
We did watch American Idol. And so there were a lot of things that my mom and my parents would like be okay with me listening to from the Motown side of things. And then, of course, the older I got, and, you get your first heartbreak, you love country music because it really speaks to you. So
right.
I started listening to a lot of country, and then of course it got to the point where, my dad was singing all these songs. I'm like, how you know these songs, Dad? Like, we weren't allowed to listen to nothing, but every one of them.
Right.
But
right.
And then all my friends, that's all they did was listen to country music. And I mean, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the story side of it. Mm-hmm. And, I had cousins that lived in the same hometown as myself, and they listened to nothing but country music. And when I was about 8 or 9, I think it was "Don't Laugh at Me" by Mark Willis.
Yep.
Was it Mark Willis or Wills? It's Mark Willis.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I heard that song and I cried.
Okay.
Like, I cried my eyes out. And I just thought it was the saddest song ever. And of course, like "Don't Take the Girl." I mean, all those songs, that's where I really fell in love with country music. And of course, my grandma, she was a huge Loretta Lynn fan.
Okay.
So there were times where I would hear Loretta Lynn, and she was an Elvis fan. So I did grow up somewhat around it, and then I just fell in love with it when I dove into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell in love more and more, and it started making me realize, okay, I'm right where I need to be.
Yeah, I think
I don't need to go to any other genre right now whatsoever.
Yeah. So it's funny you mention about the songs that kind of touch on you, and Zach Brown's that one that kind of did it for me. So I have two daughters, and I'm divorced, and so I get them every other weekend and every Wednesday, and right around the time when I started listening to country music, that Highway 20 ride like literally goes through, like it's hard, like you might see a little bit of my eyes sweating right now, but so that song right there, like, and I started talking to other people, and they in the same similar situations had the same exact reaction. And even now, like I say to my kids, like I'll listen to them, like, God damn you, Zach Brown, you did it again, and so oddly enough, last year I was at a concert when we could go to concerts. I was at Zach Brown, and my daughter was there with her friends here in Philly, which is we're right outside of Philly, and the song came on, and she sent me a Snapchat, and her makeup is just running down her face, and she was, tell me why this is happening right now. And then I lose my shit, and I'm like, oh my God, like what am I going to do here? But yeah, that's the important part of music. And my perspective on your music, like you really go deep in your stuff.
Oh yeah. There's definitely no. I mean, every song that I have released, they are. I would definitely say that I'm not a songwriter that can sit in there and write just about anything or make up a story in my head. It's definitely real life. It's not. All these situations are really situations that have happened to me.
Right.
So
yeah, and
I
mean,
I do write there's not much fabrication whatsoever.
I can kind of tell. It's again, I think your music's amazing. I think it tells your story, and you have quite a story. I mean, being in Nashville, one of the it's a music mecca, but it's also a significant party town, right?
Oh yes, most definitely.
So I want to congratulate you on your sobriety, right? I think that's super important for people to know.
It'll be 4 years in May.
Congratulations on that.
Yes.
And I guess your latest non-Christmas single was Drunkest Night.
Yes, which I'm sure people like just kind of, if they were fans at all, they're like, until they hear the song, they don't really understand it.
Right. But yeah, I think you're, again, I'm a big fan. I'm not going to like geek out or nerd out or anything like that, but I really do appreciate you coming on here. Can you sing a song? Do you want to sing a song?
Yeah, no, absolutely. What do you want to hear is the question.
I'll let you pick and choose which one you want the group of people that listen to this podcast.
Well, I mean, is this going to be before? Question is this going to be before or after Christmas?
This one, I'm super excited to get this out, but I don't edit anything out, but I want to put some things in. So
yes,
we'll say this will probably it'll be before Christmas, I think.
Well, you want to hear something no one's heard?
Heck yeah.
It's not out yet, because I do have a song coming out in January.
Yeah, when can I put this out? Can I put this out before?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm getting the exclusive here. I'm so excited. All right, well look, I'm gonna mute myself just so I don't screw this up for anyone, and we'll go from there. So when you hit your first string there, I'll mute myself.
Okay. Well, this one is called String, and this was actually, speaking of my sobriety, this was the first song that I wrote after I got sober. And I mean, it came to me so incredibly quick. I couldn't even fathom what I was thinking in my head because it was coming out so quickly. Because, I mean, for the longest time, like right after I got sober, I was like, I'm not going to be able to write again because every time I wrote, I was just toasted. So
Okay.
I wrote this song in the sum of like 45 minutes, and it was like an epiphany. I mean, it was one of those literal mind-blowing moments where I heard everything when I was writing it, and I heard the whole production of it. And that's what really got me into producing a little bit, and actually, not just going, hey, these guys are playing my stuff. I don't know what they're going to play. It's going to be great. So I wrote the song, and it's been through hell and back, that's for sure, when it comes to getting it recorded and actually recorded the way I envisioned it. And actually an artist as well. He's the one that produced it. His name is Ross Copley.
Okay.
And you've probably seen him on my lives. Like, he's played with me a ton downtown.
Right.
But he's the one that took it on and reproduced it, because the first production was not what I wanted and not who I was as an artist. And I was like, I can't ever release this song unless it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So he took it on, and I mean, he couldn't have done better when it comes to producing the song and helping me, get out what I was hearing in my head. So
okay.
Here it goes. You call me, and I'm hanging by a string from the last word you said to me. No, it's all a lie, but I act so naive, 'cause I don't want you to leave. Been playing with my head, it's been long enough. A fool for believing what we had was a love you come hiding now. I'll say it's alright. Stay confused in my head, let you mess up my bed. We won't say goodbye, 'cause there'll be next time. You'll give me just what I need to hang by the string. Yeah, it's the last time I'll buy your lies. I'll leave a key under the mat, give you everything you left out. Still playing with my head, enough is enough. Such a fool for thinking what we were was a love you come by now. I'll say it's alright. Stay confused in my head, make you mess up my bed. We won't say goodbye, 'cause there'll be next time. And you'll give me just what I need to hang by that string. Oh, to hang by that string. Oh, yeah. Sick of all the secrets, sick of all the lies. You never deserve me, so don't even try to come back now. This was never right. Stay confused in my head, like you mess up my bed. This time it's goodbye. There won't be next time. You'll never get what I need to hang by that string. Oh, yeah. I won't hang by that string.
I got it. This is just. That was great.
Thank you. Thank you
That
so
was
much.
really good. That is something, and not just saying it, that is something that I could definitely hear playing on the radio. At least here in Philadelphia, I could definitely 100%.
Oh man,
It's just like that.
It's so funny because now I used to love playing it acoustic, and like now I hate it because I've heard because we just
With the
finished
production.
like that. Oh man, it doesn't even touch what I play acoustic.
Right.
It just doesn't. Now when I play it, I'm just like, I'm missing like so much in this song. You don't even understand.
That was really good, and I really appreciate you. We'll just say debuting that here.
Yes.
And I can't wait for people to hear that. Like, it's just I'm a big, like, this shirt here, like I'm like the positivity and like the chasing a dream and all that other kind of stuff. I think that's so important, and I think that's also lost a lot today. I'm like I have a regular 9 to 5 and all that, but I'm like I can't stop thinking kind of how can I help people? And that's really what this podcast is about. It's about getting either, things that I've experienced out, or really about people like you sharing how you got to where you are today. And that was awesome. That was
Thank
really,
you.
really great.
Yeah,
That was really great.
This was definitely this. I've been holding on to this one for a while now, and I get so scared. I almost get so scared to release it because I'm like, this is my favorite song. Like, I feel like after I release a song, I can't release anything else because I feel like this is the best version of me. Like, this is everything that I've ever thought of in my head for a song. Because it was one of those moments when I wrote, I literally closed my eyes and like put myself on stage again, because I wasn't really playing a lot back when I wrote this. And so I just like imagined myself playing on stage again. And it came so quickly to me. It was so
great.
bad. I was
great.
calling like 1,000 people that day, like trying to explain so I didn't forget anything that I was thinking in my head and that I was writing in my head, because I didn't even have a piece of paper or a pen. It was just all there.
So take me through that process. Like I've always wanted to understand the process of writing. I'm a huge music fan, but I don't understand how does the process start? I think it's a special thing that certain people have.
Sometimes it's very, I actually wrote 2 this week, and you go through those rough patches where you just have complete writer's block. Like, you have so many feelings to the point where you're like, honestly, whatever I write right now, it's not pleasant.
Yeah, that's what you and I talked about the other day.
It's not going to make sense to many people.
Right.
Because you go through so many ups and downs with music, and you do, and there's always difference. There's always different approaches to all of it. I mean, there are times where I have a melody stuck in my head, or I have a lead hook of a guitar stuck in my head, and then I have to at least hum it or something, or play it or record it in some way. And there are just times where it comes to, the string came to me so quick. And maybe it was because I was in a place in my life where, I was fed up with something. Right. Or someone.
Oh, well,
but
look, sometimes pain brings frustration, all that. I think it brings out a ton of creativity, and whether it's music or business or anything like that. I think look, it's just turning that what is, I think, perceived negativity into something amazingly positive. And look, you're touching people's lives. You might not think it, and I think that's one of those, just by, like, you're speaking to people, right? So your story is the same as a lot of other people, or there's a lot of similarities. And by you doing that, it it helps people.
I really did. I started to really learn that, like, I mean, when I wrote All of Me,
I love that
this
song, by
song,
the way.
you love All of Me?
That'll make me cry. Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm
Yeah,
glad.
so
I wanted you to sing that, but I don't want you to sing it.
yeah, so not, are you talking about Even If or All of Me?
Even if is
Yeah.
the one. Yeah.
So, well, back before Even If, I have this song called All of Me, and I mean, it's still up. It was the first thing that I ever released from my like first EP that had no clue what I was doing. I didn't even know how to be in a studio. I was in a living room, so I wasn't in an actual studio, but I wrote that about a friend that I lost in high school. And I went to a lot of funerals in my high school years, and
Right.
more than I honestly should, to be honest. And I I lost my cousin in an accident, and his girlfriend, and like, that one really hit home. I mean, my friend died my junior year, and that hits you so quickly because you just don't expect it whatsoever. Sure. And then when my cousin passed away, it was just the icing on the cake. Like, you just become numb. And I will say that there was a lot of pain, back when I first started writing there was a lot of pain that I never really dealt with. And so writing All of Me was one of those. I mean, it was like I took that to a guy in Jacksonville, Florida, when I first was trying to get into songwriting, trying to figure it out, map it out. And I told him that I had this idea, and I gave him like a couple lines. None of them really made sense though, or to me they didn't. But I was just trying to get it all on paper. And then we wrote All of Me together. And between that I played that song at my first show with a full band and everything, like as Amber Delacruz, the country artist. And I was opening for Justin Moore. It was a hometown show in Callahan, Florida. And I played that song, and there was this little 10-year-old girl that came up to me afterwards, and she was just bawling her eyes out. And and I knew who her best friend was, and her best friend had she just drowned and died in a pool. And like, I knew the whole situation. So like, when she came up to me crying, like, I was just
Sure.
I was just done.
Yeah.
I was almost done for the rest of the night. I didn't even want to even touch anything else. And so she came up to me crying. She goes, "Your song All of Me, was, it made me think of my best friend." And
Right.
she didn't know that I knew, but I knew who she was. And
Right.
And that right there was just like, this is exactly why I'm going to do this. Like,
Exactly.
Like, this is sealing the deal as to why I ever started to do country music, songwriting, anything like that. That's why I ever entertained it, because that's what it did for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, obviously, when, I came out with Even If, and I, tapped into that world, it was definitely emotional.
That's a great song. I'm gonna put that on here, because I think the vocals itself, like, it's, this light is super blinding to me in my eyes here. But that's one of the ones that kind of drew me in, because we all make a lot of mistakes in our life, and we go through a lot of stuff, and to you owned every damn thing in that song. I mean, you owned,
oh yeah,
like, owned it. And I hope
know
people.
I know Jamie, my co-writer. I didn't even know him. I met him like the night before, and I told him a little bit about what I was going through in my life at the time. And he asked me what I'd been drinking, and I was just like, water.
Right.
With lemon. He
Right.
just kind of looked at me like, "You're a young girl, like, you don't drink?" and of course, like, the first thing, like, when that happens is like, well, are you pregnant? Like,
Right.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
I don't drink. And so,
Right.
he was very curious as to why I wasn't drinking. And I told him, and I remember telling him that night, because he was just like, what made you stop? And I said, honestly, I was to the point where I was putting my life in danger just about every night. And it was almost to the point where I wasn't going to make it to 30 if I didn't get my act together.
Right.
And I basically told him, I said, the thing that probably killed me the most was thinking about, if something happened to me, who was going to call my mom and tell her that something happened to me? And it was 10 times out of 10 brought on my own stupidity. It wasn't just because it was an accident.
Yeah.
And it just kind of stuck with him. And I just said, very nice to meet you. And he just kind of said, oh, wow, like, you thought hard about this. And I said, oh, yes, most definitely. And he texted me later that night. It was probably about 2:00 in the morning. And he texted me and just said, okay, your story has stuck with me all night, and I can't help but stop. I can't stop thinking about it. But I have this really great idea, and I would love to write with you. And I was just like, I almost ignored it. I did, because I'm like, we ain't tapping into that room.
Sure.
Before even if I was not very open about, like, my actual life. I was just happy with writing party songs and calling it a day.
Right.
And so or just like my simple hometown stuff, not like my actual life and all the stuff that basically caused me to be a loose cannon. So, but we went in that right, and I'm sure he probably thought I was a basket case, because I walked in and I had to walk out 7 or 8 times because I couldn't even keep my composure together. Because here I didn't even know Jamie, and I'm like telling him my entire life story and everything that I've ever done.
Right.
And they say that songwriting is like straight appointment to the psychiatrist, but
no, I think I think that's one of the things I appreciate the most. And there's a lot of people out there that won't do that, and you can still write the party songs. Like, I'm from the South is basically, I feel like that's my anthem from growing up, even though, like, I'm from outside of Philadelphia, but it resonates with, like, what me and my boys used to do. Like, we used to just camp in the woods, we used to just party it up, and our oldest buddy had a car, and we would go. I mean, I'm incriminating now, I'm not going to say it, but we used to go out, and, like, we used to really kick it up good, right? So it was kind of like the innocent fun, not like today. And thank goodness we didn't have cell phones. But I think I think
we would be, me and my brother alone would be in so much trouble if we had cell phones.
Right.
Oh, I mean, my brother definitely wanted to be Johnny Knoxville.
So Bam,
that's how wild we were.
Bam lives about 20 minutes from my house right now. We used to see him all the time. We used to see the Jackass guys all the time, and it was we did a lot of that stuff, but we never filmed it, right? So we were the real jackasses that didn't.
I'm sure there's some old tape somewhere, but thankfully we didn't have cell phones, because there are some things that I'm like, how do we not die? How did we not die? I'm trying to figure that out.
So from the music perspective, I want to kind of shift gears a little bit to, like, the business side. Do you own all your own music?
I do, for the most part.
Okay. Because I've heard really big nightmare stories about that.
Oh, there definitely are. That's proven fact. I got 2 songs that I had written, and they were actually the first 2 songs I ever wrote. I had 2 songs put on compilation disc, and that was before I moved to Nashville, and I recorded those. And so they were put on a compilation, and then they were sold in Walmart and everything. But as far as those 2 songs, I did fully write by myself. I didn't know that you could write a song by yourself. So when I first started songwriting, like I always thought there had to be 3 or 4 people in the room. It was not, it wasn't a thing that you could just do on your own. And then it was almost a shock to the people when I first moved to town, because I did say, they said no one helped you write this, and I was like, no, I just wrote it. And
Right.
so I did. I mean, for the most part, I mean, all the songs on the Good Times album, which is very, very old, or it's old to me just because back then I didn't really know. I didn't know any better, and I didn't know that the raspiness that I do have was a thing, and I tried to hide it. I didn't know that it was.
You don't
a good
hide
thing.
it anymore.
No, definitely not. I let it all out, and Lord knows sometimes.
You're from.
Sometimes I sound like Janis Joplin, but.
Yeah, well, it's anyone who's listening to this, and I'm going to promote as much as I can. I think it's super important. You're out there chasing a dream. I think that's important to me, because not many people will do it. A lot of people just like go and they want to be a cog in the wheel and just boom, 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 just get through life, whatever. And one of the things I do want to say, I don't know you personally, but from what I've seen, I'm super proud of you for your sobriety. That's very important.
Thank you.
And
it's been a long road. And
oh yeah, for sure.
I am thankful that I'm thankful that God gave me the strength to actually still be able to live in Nashville and not just run away from it. I did face it head on. I mean, there were, honestly, the day that I got sober, there were so many eye openers that day, because I remember I just prayed. I prayed so hard that day and was just like, God, I know I'm serious right now. Like, this is the most serious I've ever been. Right. We all say like, I'm never drinking again or something like that. But that day I was so just broken, and I was hitting rock. I knew I was hitting rock bottom. And then again, I felt like I was below rock bottom at that point. Right. And there were just so many eye openers that day, and so many things that happened in that week that, it would blow your mind. It blows my mind still to this day. Like, it was just one of those moments where you're just like, I see you, God. Like, I understand. I get it. You don't have to punch me in the teeth anymore.
You can be like the ultimate people watcher now, because your business is going into bars.
Oh yeah.
That's your business, right? Look, I think it was 11. I think you didn't even go on yet. I was there. They weren't even serving. They weren't serving food, but they were, I got some drinks in me real quick.
Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. I know that, I think over the last, several years, people's eyes have been open about owning their own music, and, because you distribute on your own as well, right? Through.
Yes.
Okay.
I've been distributing on my own since I'm from the South.
Okay. So speaking of that, so you mentioned Jacksonville, right? I think I had mentioned to you that I used to spend a lot of time in Jacksonville. So I used to work in tobacco, and I didn't work for Swisher. I worked for the Better Company, which was Black and Mild cigars.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So the originals.
Right. Yeah. So I would be down in Jacksonville.
Not that I would know anything about that, Mom.
No, nothing. Just they smell good, right? And so I spent a lot of time in Jacksonville, so I got to know quite a few people, and I'm friends with them on social media and on Facebook in particular. And I was scrolling one day, and someone shared something about you, and I messaged her. Her name's Sandra. She's one of my favorite people down there.
Wait, Sandra Hunt?
Sandra Willard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she said that
there was a Sandra Hunt that she's a singer in Jacksonville, Florida. She's amazing.
Okay. So she told me that she used to go to your mom's bakery.
Oh boy.
Right. So I'm like, what? So it's funny because she always told me, Jacksonville, I guess just north of Jacksonville, a lot of people consider themselves Southern Georgians, right?
Oh, they are.
And she,
there are many
she would
people
always
that I tell where I live, and they're like, "You're from South Georgia."
Right. She was the one who told me, she said, John, if anyone ever says bless your heart to you, she goes, you better punch them right in the face, because it's not a nice thing, no matter how nice they sound.
Oh, yeah. There have been times where I have said it, and I genuinely mean bless your heart.
Right.
Like,
Right.
But no, man, that 95% of the time, yes, it is.
I just think it's
sarcastic as sarcastic can get in the Southern
sure.
world.
Yeah. I had someone say to me in a meeting one time, and I'm like, everyone just kind of looked around, and I'm like, I know what you just said. I said, and I'm from right around Philly, and we do things a little differently there. So, yeah, so that's
prepared to have no front teeth.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's funny. My mom always says, when people ask where she's from, she goes, you essentially say from Philly. And she said, the city that'll shoot you back. Which is, unfortunately it's very true these days. But, so anyway, that was kind of how the world's so small. But, from a music perspective, I think you're incredible. I think your story is one that I think if people really kind of get into and listen to your music and follow you, your social media is hilarious, by the way. I hope, I know I'm not spoiling nothing, but I hope your dad likes his TV.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. No, he knows about it. Cause, of course, when we went shopping that day, he was trying to figure out what was wrong with his bank. My dad's a Nazi when it comes to his bank account. Like, he watches everything.
Right.
Like, I don't care if it's a pack of gum. Yeah, I don't care if it's a pack. Which I know I get it from, because I'm crazy about my freaking bank. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a penny.
Right.
Like, where does it come from? But yeah, no, it was so funny. My mom, right after we made that purchase for my dad, and it was for his Christmas present. Like, he's been wanting a TV for 2 years, and Lord knows the TV on their wall, I give them complete hell every time I go home. And I'm like, I mean, I guess when we stopped watching TV from 1972,
right,
like,
right,
y'all will know the fascinating things in life. I just always joke with them, but I remember one day it almost crashed on them, and I called my brother, and me and my brother are like, the nerds in the family, and we always give them hell about this TV that they have, and and I called him and I was like, I think our dreams are come true, because we were wanting to buy them a TV last year, and they said no. So
it must be one of them things.
Got his TV.
Yeah, I bought my mom a TV 2 years ago for Christmas, and she and I, this is just a mess right now. My mom and I actually switched houses, and my house was completely done. Am I boring you? I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I know you've probably had a long day, but same thing. She refused to hook the TV up. She had a little, tube TV, and I finally hook it up, and she's like, hey, as a matter of fact, on that trip in going from Nashville to Memphis, she goes, what do you think about switching houses? I'm like, what? My house is completely done. It's one floor or whatever. So she got that, and now I'm going through all these renovations. So I hope to actually have a studio at some point, but that's
awesome.
Whatever.
Hey, I'm a sucker for renovating things. Like, I love that. I might watch, Joanne Gaines like a hawk.
I watch Property Brothers every morning at the gym. It's
so addictive to watch.
Right.
Like Chip and Joanna Gaines, like, they're so entertaining to me.
Right. Yeah.
My sister will get on a kick, and I'll just be like, let's watch it. I'm in it. I get this now.
Yeah. It's
Before,
the best.
I used to be like, it's the most boring thing ever.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, look, when you hit it real big and you have like a mansion and like acreage and all that cool 4-wheelers and side by sides.
I don't even want the mansion. If you just give me a bunch of acres, I'll be happy.
Right. A bulldozer.
Give me some UTVs and a lot of and
exactly.
about 50 acres. I'm a happy girl.
Right. I've been looking down there.
I'll put a tiny home on it. I don't care.
I've been looking up around Lake Norris. That's where I kind of want to be. Up just
really?
north of Knoxville. Yeah.
Okay.
That's great over there.
Yeah. I know I have my niece's boyfriend. He goes to University of Cumberland.
Okay.
and he's on a full ride scholarship there. So I've driven over there and it is beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it is in the middle of nowhere. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's beautiful over there.
Right.
I mean, I don't blame anyone for living out there. I'd be like, matter of fact, I might just live out here in the middle of nowhere. Ain't nobody gonna bother me.
That's right. That's right. So from we're approaching the 1 hour, but I do want to ask a couple other questions. So when you go to a show and you look out and you see people singing your music, how's that make you feel?
Oh man, sometimes I can't look at them because I'll get way too emotional.
Yeah.
It tears me up to no end, especially when it's not like your mom,
Right. Right. Yeah.
And it's someone, you might recognize the face because, that they follow you on social media, but I think, sometimes I really can't look at them because I'm not sure. I start questioning like what my lyrics are because I don't know if they yeah. So like they're like watching them and you get so caught up in what they're actually,
Right.
singing that you're like, where am I at in the song? Because
when they start like rocking out, because like I can imagine you coming out and like playing I'm from the South, like anywhere south of the Mason-Dixon, and people probably just lose their minds.
I remember I remember I did do a show here lately and they were asking for I'm from the South, like right when I started, and I'm like, I can't do that because then you're just gonna leave.
Right. I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
Yeah, I can't do it right off the bat. Like I was playing at American Legion. There was this little girl there, and she said, "Play I'm from the South," and it was just like right off the bat. I'm like, well, no, that means you're gonna leave. that's like Anthem down here where I'm at.
Right. So what are the plans? I mean, obviously the COVID thing really screwed everything up in the entire world, probably more so for, the entertainment industry. I can't even imagine what they're going through, but
oh yeah.
What's on the horizon for you? Like what are your expectations and maybe touring and that kind of stuff?
Me and they'll find out about this tomorrow, but I am doing my official signing with my management team tomorrow. So I'm signing with Redbeard Management. So they definitely have some big plans, and we've all been talking about it. And there's a lot going on next year that I'm super excited about, and we're definitely looking into more dates out of town because this past year, or in 2019, I was playing a lot in Nashville full time. I mean, I was playing about 5-6 shows a week.
Right.
And then of course COVID happened, and that kind of did put a pause on when I wanted to release stuff because I wasn't sure whether I could or not because the money that I was expecting to make in the summertime on Broadway or anywhere else didn't really happen. So I was like, well, I got all this music that I want to release, but I want to know they have the funding to do it. And so we just put kind of a hold on it until like October. I was just like, I'm biting the bullet. I don't care if I'm eating peanut butter for 2 weeks, but I'm going to do it.
Well, so congratulations to you.
Yeah, it's exciting. And I do have a lot more music coming out. So
I'm looking forward to it.
I can't say too much, but I could tell you about string. That's about it.
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair. There's music out there for people to listen to, and I think if they were to listen to that, and also, it's Thursday nights, right? For the most part, when you do your lives.
No, it's actually I started. I started Requested Wednesdays.
Oh, Requested Wednesdays. Okay.
I started Requested Wednesdays about 3 years ago because I wasn't getting gigs out downtown, and I was trying so hard to get more gigs, and I was broke And I was just like, you know what? I want to play. I don't want the reason why I don't play to be because I don't get any shows. So I'm just going to start this live thing, and I'm going to start Requested Wednesday, and I'm going to make a tip jar. And like, it just took off from there. And so, you know, that did kind of help me when it came to COVID happening, because, you know, I had been doing Requested Wednesdays for 2 years before that. So
Right.
it was always a thing with me. And, you know, there were fans that were just, you know, dying for me to do it again, because I stopped doing it for a while because I was playing so much downtown that I didn't have a voice to come. I mean,
Right.
I didn't have a voice when I got home. And so rest was my best friend.
Well, I will say this, that anytime you're on there, and please everyone follow her on social media, and we'll get all that up on the screen here as well. But she will literally play any damn song you ask for, is, you know, whether it's like one chorus or whatever it is.
Oh, I'll try.
Yeah,
And
there's no
sometimes embarrass the hell out of myself, but I do it.
well, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of quit in you, so but
No.
that's good. So I'm anxious to see. I can't wait to get to a live show again. I really can't. And there's a lot of smaller places up here. You know, when Job opened for Cody Johnson again last time they were here, they did, like, Cody Johnson did like a 1,200 person. It was like $20 a ticket, and it was the best show ever.
Oh.
And, you know, so I'm there. I'm the only one with a
I
Job
can't.
Fortner shirt on. And I'm standing, and I was like, yo, I'm going to be at the show. He's like, dude, stand up there, get as close as you can, and sing as loud as you can. And I did. And my daughter, she just turned 15, she was 14. She turned around, she goes, you ruined the show for me. I said, why? She goes, because all I could hear was you singing. I was like, hey, you know, he told me to sing loud, so I did. But, you know.
No, honestly, I love small venues so much more. I feel like we always have a better time.
Right.
Like, people always say that they hate it when there's only like 5 people in there, and I'm like, I love this. This is great. I feel like I'm around a fire.
Right. Yeah. Well, hopefully you get up this way at some point, or, you know, at least close. And, you know, I'll definitely be following you. And look, if there's anything that I don't know how much I could do, but what can me and other people do to help you? What can we do to help you?
Sharing the hell out of the music. I mean,
Okay.
you know, my shares can only go so far.
Right.
You know, me sharing my own music, but, you know, sharing the links, sharing, you know, screenshotting the music, sharing it with your friends, posting about it, anything like that, that means something. And it, you know, that people always they're always talking about the algorithms of social media.
Sure. Right.
And how, you know, they're literally the worst, but, you know, you always have to get past it. But the way to get past it is that, you know, people actually organically share your music and get it out there, and, you know, put it out there for everyone to hear. I mean, that's the best thing that you could do for anyone independent, because, you know, you don't have a team, you don't have this huge team around you, like, you know, knowing what the algorithm is and what they need to do. So, sharing is everything, and it goes a long, long way. That data is a
I will definitely share as much as I can. I'll put it on. I have, you know, a couple different social media accounts, and I'll do something, you know, I'll do as much as I can here, and I'll put a few things together here from this conversation between you and I, and put it out there as well.
Yes.
Thank
you.
So last thing is, when I think of what you're trying to accomplish, and even some of the other independent acts that I follow, have you watched Country Ever After on Netflix with Coffey Anderson?
I have not.
He's an independent guy on the West Coast. He lives in LA. His wife's a hip hop choreographer who's like dance with like Beyonce and like all these people. And he's just this country dude from Texas. It's a great watch. It's really good. And he's completely independent, and he goes out and he sells his own merch, and he has an RV that he has his face on the side of it. And
Oh
and
yeah.
it's super interesting. And that he, it gets into a little bit of, 10 years ago when he promised himself that's, this is what he wanted to do. And, it takes a long time.
Well, it does, and I mean, I mean, they're not lying when they say there comes a lot of sacrifice with this. I mean,
sure.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say it's all peaches and cream because it's not. It's not like,
But nothing in life
I,
is really
but
nothing's life
yeah,
in life
not.
is.
But at the end of the day, like, this is what I absolutely love to do. Like, I can't really see myself being anything else, especially at this point. I mean, I feel like Forrest Gump, like, I made it this far, I might as well keep going.
Yep.
Like,
Well, I think I think me, just from my perspective, like I've always had a plan B. I wish I just had plan A and never had a plan B, because I would be doing something
yeah.
completely different than what I'm doing now. And, I'm starting to get into that and gravitate towards certain things, but good for you for just sticking to what you want.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had jobs, and I've had several jobs, and I've been fired from one. But I definitely, I did all those jobs, and yeah, like, I was, the best employee that I could be. But at the end of the day, there's nothing I know more than music.
yeah,
I mean, there really is. Like, that is something that I know I can look at for 5 minutes and go, yep, let's go.
right. No,
I
I
jump,
think, I think
I
that's
jump off the
great.
ledge every time.
Yeah, it's, well, that's very admirable. And I wish you nothing but success going forward. I'm going to continue to follow you because, you do have great music, and that's really the reason, right? So, it comes down to, um, you know, being interesting. You tell a great story in virtually all of your songs. And, I really appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciate you taking the time to sing, strings on here. And I can't wait to hear it when it comes out with all the production and all that stuff. So
Oh, yeah, it's killer. I mean, I'm super excited about it, and I'm super excited about the people that I had be a part of it. I mean, that song brought a lot of relationships together. I mean, it really did. It formed, like, everyone that I work with now all the time and call just about every day. I mean, this song is what just completely molded everything that I had prayed for years, and just said, God, just put the right people in my life. That's all I need.
right.
Like,
I'm really excited for you. I really am. And is there anything additional you would like people to know?
I'm thankful. Thank you so much thank you for reaching out to me like you did and having me on here. I do appreciate that.
Sure.
I appreciate you, supporting me in my music, because I know, like, you have so much music come out every day, and by different people, and, you want to stay as relevant as possible, and you don't want to be past, I guess, like, in
Right.
that sense. But I do appreciate that. And if I could tell anybody anything, like, don't listen to anyone.
Right. Yeah.
If you want to do something, do it. And don't sit there and second guess yourself if you really feel like you're led to do something.
Sure.
I mean,
Well, I think that's really good
it's
advice. We have a lot of followers right now that aren't willing to take that step and take that risk and get out there and put themselves out there. And I think it's super important for people to take that risk and
I think it is too. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so many people that, I know so many talented people that I'm like, you need to do it. Like, screw what your, ex-boyfriend, girlfriend said. Like, just do it. Like,
right.
don't let that one negative thing in your life keep you from doing something that could lead to so many positive things in your life.
Sure.
So,
Right. Yeah, that's something I need to work on every single day.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Well, look, where can people find you? All your socials, put it out there.
Oh.
I'll put it on the screen too as well.
Yeah, you can you can go to amberdelacruz.com.
Okay.
It's pretty, and it has all my socials on there. So
Okay. Very
and
cool.
you can go check out my store. I'm adding more merch every day. I have t-shirt ideas for days, and I got a lot of new stuff coming out in the top of the year. So I'm super excited about that as well.
Okay, cool. Well, look, maybe I'll try to write a song and I'll send it to you. I just want just that little credit. I've always wanted to be on a song. I can't sing. I could rap only when I have earbuds in. That's about it. But again, Amber, I appreciate your time. We went over a little bit, but I think it's important. You have a really good message to send to people. I think you definitely are an inspiration to people, whether you think you are or not. I think you definitely bring people together. My mom's going to be 70 years old, and I'm 41, and I really enjoyed your music. So she and I sat there and enjoyed your music together, which I think is really important. So
thank you.
That kind of, brings that generational piece together. And, I guess we'll just close it out here. And again, I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you so much. I do appreciate you.
Yeah.
What you're doing is amazing, especially for independent artists, because it's very hard to knock on those doors as an independent artist.
Well, look, if you have
hopefully hear something back.
Yeah, if you hear anyone, or if you know anyone who might want to come on and share their story, please send them my way. I'm super into people that are trying to, do things their way, and just interesting stories and whatnot. I mean, I've reached out to some people. I can't believe they actually replied to me to let alone want to come on here, which is kind of cool for me, because I'm just
absolutely.
I'm just a regular dude. So well, look, everyone, this is, again, Amber Delacruz. Please check her out, amberdelacruz.com. And I'll put all the social media and all that stuff down at the bottom or on the screen somewhere, wherever I can find space outside this big head. So, again, this is John at the Bumbling Yeti, episode actually number 27. So, which is interesting to me. I'm going to try to get back on this. But, Amber, I appreciate your time. And
thank you so much.
I'll be definitely looking forward to buying that next single when it comes out. So
yeah, I'm super excited about it. Y'all definitely keep your eyes out for it.
All right.
It's my favorite song ever.
Okay, well, good.
I mean, other than my Christmas song, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, the Christmas song is good. Actually, I'm going to probably put that on the social media, my post, maybe tonight or tomorrow. So I'll try to rip some of that out and throw that in there. But thank you again. And thank you everyone for listening. Again, you can find me at thebumblingYeti.com. You can find, we're on all the streaming platforms and all that stuff. So Amber, again, I appreciate your time.
No, thank you very much. I'll talk to you later, man.
Sounds great. Thanks.
All right.
You've been listening to the Bumbling Yeti podcast.
Have an idea for a future show or guest? Hit us up on our socials at The Bumbling Yeti
or email at thebumblingYeti@gmail.com.